Today's daf yomi is Sanhedrin daf Ayin Beis Sanhedrin 72. The daf is dedicated for Shemir for the Chayalim. That's all for the Shvuyim and Yeshua for Am Yisrael and Eis Tzara. Gemara tells us on top of 72a, Tanya Rabbi Yossi Aglili Omer, still talking about the Ben Sorera Mored, the rebellious child, that it says L'chim Imnei Shachal Zeta Timar Basar V'Shatia Chatzilu Yayin Vitalki Amri Torah Yetze LeBezdin V'Sakel. Because this person, this child, ate a tartimar of meat and he drank a half a lug of Italian wine, does the Torah say that he has to be brought out to the court to be stoned? The Torah is predicting what's going to happen in the end to this rebellious child. In the end, after he steals all of his father's assets, then and he's going to try to continue his addiction to this meat and wine. And he won't find anything. He's going to go out into the intersection, and he'll steal from people. And Torah says better off killing him while he's still innocent and not waiting for him to be guilty and then killing him then. When the wicked ones die, that's good for them and good for the world. It's good for the wicked ones because they can no longer continue to sin. And it's good for the world because we're rid of the wicked ones. Well, it's tzaddikim, but the death of the righteous is ra'ahem v'ra'a'oam, is bad for them because they can no longer do good deeds, and it's bad for the world. Sheina v'yayin, sleep and wine, l'rishayim, sleep and wine for the wicked ones is good for them and good for the world. And what tzaddikim, and for the righteous ones, is ra'ahem v'ra'a'oam, is bad for them and bad for the world. Shekel rishayim, when it's quiet for the wicked ones, ra'ahem v'ra'a'oam, meaning to say, when the wicked ones are not being harassed, it's bad for them because that way they could do bad things, and bad for the world, they're going to do bad things in the world. Well, tzaddikim, hanoahem v'hanoam, for the righteous, it's good for them and good for the world. Pizor rishayim, when the wicked ones have no more money, then hanoahem v'hanoam, that's good for them because they can't do bad, v'hanoam, and it's good for the world. Well, tzaddikim, but for the righteous, ra'ahem v'ra'a'oam. For the righteous, it's bad for them and bad for the world under those circumstances. So now we're up to the next Mishnah, and the Mishnah says that the Torah has a special law that if a person is tunneling into your house, that you're allowed to kill him. The Torah says you could kill such a person who's tunneling into your house to steal from you. And so, but why? He's not, technically speaking, at that moment threatening your life. So the Mishnah says, Nidon al Shem Sofo. Because we look at what will happen in the end. Because in the end, he's going to kill the person who's in the house, and the person will stand up to try and stop him to save his own money. So therefore, we predict what will happen, and you're allowed to kill him. So let's say he's coming in. Let's say he's coming into tunneling into your house. He's tunneling into the house, and in doing so, he breaks the barrel. So under those circumstances, im yeshlo damim, what this means is if the person is if the person has to pay for the money, then chayiv. Then, meaning to say, if it's a circumstance where you're not allowed to kill him, then he has to pay for the damage. And the Gemara is going to explain that. Im ein odamim, but if you're not allowed to kill him, Potter is going to be exempt. Then but if you're allowed to kill him, Potter, then that person is exempt from the damages. If you're allowed to kill him, we're going to say that under those circumstances, he's exempt from the damages because we have a principle, Kimle b'deramine. We give him a more severe punishment. But if you are not allowed to kill him, if you kill him, you'll have blood on your hands, then you're liable for the damages. Amarava, my time of the Machtaris. What's the reasoning for the Baba Machtaris? What's the reasoning why if somebody's tunneling into your home, you're allowed to kill him? We have a presumption that a person is not going to give up their money. And if a person comes and sees that they're going to take his money, he's not going to be quiet. So therefore, the thief knows, Rashi says, that the Baal Abayis is going to be standing by his money to save himself. And therefore, the thief says, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to kill him. And so therefore, since he's going to kill you, you are allowed to kill him back. As the Gemara says, this thief says, what If I'm going to go there, I'm going to stand in front of him. He's not going to let me be kailapi. And if he's going to stand in front of me, katlin away, I'll kill him. Excuse me. Torah Amran, the Torah says in Bo Argochash, Game Argo. Torah says if somebody's coming to kill you, you have to rise up and kill him first. Rava, Baba Machteres. So now Rav says a chiddush. Somebody tunnels into your house, v'nat al and he takes some of your possessions, v'yatz, and he goes out, potter. He doesn't have to pay you for the possessions. My timer. B'damim kananeu. Since if you killed him then, since he comes in, you're allowed to kill him, and so therefore he's acquired them. Meaning to say, once he was taking them, he was liable for death. We have a principle: if you're liable for more severe penalty, you're exempt from the lesser penalty. Since when he took the utensils, he was liable for his death. That's how he's acquired them, and so therefore, now that he's out, he's exempt. Amarava mistabra milsa to Rav b'shashiber. Rava says tries to limit Rav's teaching. He says that only applies if the possessions are no longer in existence. He broke them. They're not there anymore. But once he took them and he can return them, then it doesn't apply and he has to return them. Gemara says, well, Kim, we swear. Amar Rav afilu natal. Rav says his position, even in a circumstance where they're still in existence, the thief is exempt from having to pay it back. So yeshlo damim, because in a case where he's liable for, if somebody kills him, you're liable. And so the hayeshlo damim. So because we say in a circumstance where he's liable for, if somebody kills him, they're going to be liable. And then there is an accident that happened. Chayav, he has to pay. Alma Bereshusakaimi. We see from here that they're in his possession. And Hachanami Bereshusakaimi. So we see from here that under these circumstances, they're going to be considered to be in his possession. And so therefore, they're his property. And so therefore, if he returns them, he's basically paying back the person he stole from and not giving him back his own property. It's like it's in the thief's possession at that point. And since he doesn't have to pay him back, because of the principle of Kimlei B'Duramine, therefore, he doesn't have to pay him back under those circumstances. So the Gemara is now going, so basically Rava said that if the thief steals it, he doesn't have to pay back. Rava says, no, that's only if it broke, but if it's in existence, he has to. And the Gemara says, no, we disagree with Rava, that Rava says this position, even in a case where it's still in existence. Vulohi. So the Gemara says it's not the case. Kiukimna Rahmana, meaning not like Rav. Kiukimna Rahmana Barashuse, when Torah says it's in his possession, when in own sin, that's only with respect to he's exempt from actual accidents of Inyan, or he's liable for accidents. Aval Inyan Makna Barashuse de Marayo Kami, but with respect to actually having acquired it, still retains in the possession of the first owner. Bereshusah de Marayo Makne. And Midi Aviashol, because it's a case of like a borrower. Meaning just like the borrower is the thief is like a borrower, just like the borrower is liable for own sin, for accidents, even though he doesn't own it. So the Gemara says, I support Rava's position that Rav says only his law only in a case where it broke, but not in a case where it's still in existence. Tanan, Baba Machteres for Shiber Asachava. So it says in our Mishnah, if he tunnels in and he breaks the barrel, Yesh Lo Damim, meaning say in the case where you're not allowed to kill him, Chayev, then he has to pay it back. Ein Lo Damim, but if you're not allowed to kill him, then Potter, then excuse me, Yesh Lo Damim. If you're not allowed to kill him, then Chayev, the Ein Lo Damim. But if you're allowed to kill him, then Potter, then the thief is exempt from having it paying back. Time of the Shiber, what's the reason that if he's Ein Lo Damim, that if you're not, that if you're allowed to kill him, he is going to be Potter, because it broke. The Ein Lo Damim Potter. The reason why, if it broke and he has no Damim, and meaning to say that he's allowed to be killed, he's Potter, is because he's Potter. Not all well, but if he just took it, then he'd have to return it. even in a case where you're allowed to kill him. So this is exactly like Rabbah and not like Rav. Gemara says no. It'd be the case, even if he took it, he'd be exempt from having to pay it back, like Rav says. What does the Mishnah say? The case where he broke the barrel. So it's talking about a case where you're not allowed to kill him. In a case where you are, not allowed to kill him, even though it broke, he's also going to be liable to return it. So the Gemara says, Pshita, obviously it's the case where if he broke it and you're not allowed to kill him, he has to pay it back. Maziku, he damaged it. The Gemara says, even if it was unintentional, it's still chayiv. My kamashwan, what do you mean? Of course, if you break something unintentionally, you're responsible. That's a person is always responsible for his actions. Tanina, we already learned this. A person's always responsible for his actions. So cautious. The Gemara says this is really a difficulty for Rav. The Gemara says that. So we see that the law is like Rava, that you're only exempt if it breaks, but if it's still in existence, you have to pay it back. But the Gemara again wants to now say Rava is not correct from a brisa. Masav Rav Bibi Bar Abaye, I go named Kiss b'Shabbos. We know it says in the brisa, if somebody steals a wallet on Shabbos, Chayiv, he has to pay back for the wallet, even though he also gets death for violating Shabbos. Sharei Nischayev B'Gneva Kodem Sheyavo Idei Iser Shabbos, because he's responsible for the theft first, and then he violated Shabbos by carrying it out. But how you Megarabi would say, but if he dragged it out, meaning he never picked it up, so he stole it the second he took it out of the domain, Potter, he's going to be exempt. Sharei Iser Gneva Iser Skila Bankecha, because the two actions came at the same time, and so therefore he's going to be exempt from paying back because he's liable for the payment. And so we see from here this is against Rava, because even though it's in existence, he still is exempt from having his payback. Gemara says no. Rava would say, no, that's the case because he doesn't have it anymore, because he threw it into the river, so he doesn't have it anymore to pay it back. Rava, so again, Rava is saying that if it's in existence, you have to pay it back, but if it's non-existence, you're exempt. Rava, they were stolen from him some basically some rams, some dichtre, they were stolen from him by people who tunneled in. He returned them, but Rava did not accept them. Even though Rava said you have to return them under those circumstances, Rava vis-a-vis himself paskin like Rav. Amar, since Rav said you don't have to return them, even though I think you do, I'm going to be strict upon myself and not accept them. Tana Rabbanan, Ein Lo Damim, it says in the pasuk, Ein Lo Damim, meaning to say, under those circumstances where it is Ein Lo Damim, where he's allowed to be killed, Im Zarcha Shema Shalav. And it says in the pasuk, Ein Lo Damim, and then it says in the pasuk, Im Zarcha Shema Shalav. It says if he has no damim, meaning to say you're allowed to kill him. And then it says later on in the next pasuk, if the sun rises on him, then dumb him, then you're liable for killing him. Does the sun just rise on the thief? If it's as clear to you as the sun that you'll not have peace with this burglar or haragay, then you can kill him. Otherwise, don't kill him. Another brisa. If the sun rises on the burglar, then you're responsible if you kill him. Does the sun just only rise on the burglar? It's as clear to you as the sun that he'll have peace with you, then you're not allowed to kill him. Otherwise, you can kill him. So the Gemara says, kasha stama stama. So the two are contradictory, because in the first case, it says, if you're clear that you're not going to have peace, you can kill him. Otherwise, you can't. But in the second verse, it says, if it is clear to you as a son that you have peace with him, then you can't kill him. So it depends which way the burden of proof is. Means saying, in the first case, according to the second brisa, if you just suspect that he's going to kill you, you could kill him. But according to the first brisa, you can only kill him if you're certain he's going to kill him. So what do we say? The Gemara says, it's not going to be difficult. The first brisa which says you can only kill him if you're certain, that refers to a father who comes upon his son. So we assume that father will have mercy. Rashi says that the assumption is the father is for sure going to have mercy on the son, and so therefore you have to be certain he's going to kill you. And so unless you're certain, like the son, then you can't kill him. Whereas Kama Ben Alav, the second cases where the son is coming upon the father, there the son is not going to be as compassionate upon the father, and so then the father can assume that his son is dangerous unless he knows otherwise. But so therefore we explain him. Amarav called the Asilav Machtarta Katlinoi. Rav says, anyone who comes into my house tunneling, I'm going to kill him. Abarmi Rav Chanina Bar Shilo, with the exception of Rav Chanina Bar Shilo, my time, huh? Why would Rav kill everyone except for Rav Chanina Bar Shilo? If you want to say, well, maybe he's so righteous, how can you say he's righteous? It's coming in a tunnel. Because I know for sure he'll be merciful upon me like a father upon a son. Tana Rabbanan damim lo, that if it says that if you kill this person, once the son is shown, you're responsible. Meaning to say, damim lo, that it says in the Brisa, bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos, that it's saying with respect to a father who tunnels into his son's house, he has blood, meaning to say he cannot be killed. Damim in the plural. Bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos, both during the week and on Shabbos. Ein lo damim, but when it says he has no blood, meaning you can kill him, bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. So what does this mean? What does this mean? Bishlama ein lo damim. I understand when it says that he has no blood, meaning you could kill him. Bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. It means to tell us you could kill him both during the week and on Shabbos. So you might have thought you might have thought that when somebody's supposed to be executed by the court, you don't kill him on Shabbos. I might have thought in this case also you don't kill him on Shabbos. So we say you kill him. But we say that you can kill him. You're not allowed to kill him both during the week and on Shabbos. If you can't kill him during the week, but Shabbos, do you need to say that on Shabbos you can't kill him? So therefore, it's telling us on Shabbos that you're permitted to clear the stones from him on Shabbos. You're not allowed to kill him, and not only that, you're allowed to remove the stones to save him. Tana Rabbanan. So now the Gemara tells us, let's say that the person, the Baba Maftaris, the person who's tunneling in was struck. Enlo damim, meaning to say that, and so therefore he has no blood. You're allowed to kill him. The Chol Adam, anybody can kill him. B'meis, anybody's allowed to kill him by any death that he wants. I understand why it says anybody can kill him. I might have said only the owner is certain that the Maftaris person might kill him. And so therefore he's allowed to go, but somebody else can't. So we say no. He's a rodef, and so therefore anybody can kill him. Anybody. You're allowed to kill him any way that you want. Why do we need this? Tell me we're not from a murderer. The Tanya most masama kerotzeachu. Eli misa morabo. Minayin shema tayacho amisa v'amisa ksuvalo shatar shayla amisa v'komis shetayacho amisa. Tamomer most mas mikol makom. We already know from a murderer, kill him in any way. So of course this person, tunneler, can also be killed in any way that you need. Umar says no. Shani Hasam, in that case is different. Tamar kra most you must. The pasuk says he should be put to death whatever way you want. Umar says v'nigmar minay. Why don't we learn from that he can also be killed? Why don't we just learn from? So the Gemara says, no, the case of a murderer is different because it says most you must, and we don't have that by the Maftaris. But why don't we learn it out? The Gemara is asking. The Gemara says, Mishum because the murderer and the blood avenger are two verses that tell us the same thing. And whenever you have two psukim to tell us that you don't learn out from it. So therefore, we need a third pasuk. Tana Rabbanan, Maftaris. Or we need a brisa to tell us that you're allowed to kill him in any way. I only know if he's tunneling in. How do I know if he comes in through the roof, the courtyard, or through the carpet, which is like an enclosure? How do I know you're also allowed to kill him? Whatever way you find it. Why does it tell us in a tunnel? Most robbers come through a tunnel. Tanya idach machtaret eliyah machtaret gago chater karpei. How do I know if you kill him through the roof, the courtyard, the carpet? You're also chayev. you're also allowed to. However, you find. You came out That's what I say, That's the warning. The Torah says if the Torah warns you, if he's coming in the tunnel, that you don't need a warning in that case. If somebody's coming in a tunnel, you know he's dangerous and you're allowed to kill him. We know this. The Jewish people know this now. Let's say there's a katan who's tunneling in a minor, you're allowed to kill him. The Torah is in the position that pursuer does not need a warning. It doesn't matter if he's an adult or a minor. He challenges. It says if there's a baby, once his head comes out, if he's a danger to the mother's life, once the head comes out of the womb, ain't no gimbo. You know how to touch him. If you not how to save one soul through another soul. Why? He's a pursuer. He's not considered, even though he's a pursuer, you're not allowed to kill him because he's pursuing you from heaven, meaning to say he's not doing anything physically. It's the actions of heaven that have determined that he's a pursuer. So then you can't kill him to save the mother's life. That's a proof for this. If someone is pursuing after his friend to kill him, he should tell you should, and somebody sees this, you should say, look, he's Jewish and he's part of the covenant. You're allowed to kill this person in order to save the other person. So we see from here that you don't need to give a warning. I hear Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Yehuda. This, the Gemara says, it's not a proof because that might be the position of Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda, Omar chaver in tzarach hasra. That if the person is a chaver, he's a scholar, you don't need to warn him. The only reason why we have warnings is to distinguish between shogeg and mazing. Let's say I have a pursuer that was pursuing after his friend to kill him. And he says, look, that he's a Jew and he's part of the covenant. You're allowed to kill him. If the Rodev says, I know that this is so, then you're not allowed to kill him. So therefore, he's pater. Therefore, if you kill him, you're pater. But if he says, nevertheless, I'm doing it, then you're liable. So we see from here, he has to acknowledge the warning, and that's not like Rav Huna. Gemara says, no, we're talking about a case where they're on two opposite sides of the river, so that the witnesses wouldn't be able to save him, and so therefore, that's why you give him the warning. But if you could save him, you don't have to give him a warning. Now, what could they do? They're going to go to court. And the court requires a warning. And so therefore they're giving him the warning. He says, no, I'm like the Tana the Machteres, who says, in response to this brisa, that the tunneling is the warning. And so therefore, it's a statement. If you see the tunneling, you know for sure that he's coming to kill you and you don't need to warn him.